Hi everyone, Lady Botch or Angela here with the third commission from Wino and the D Word, and this is for a Meeksdoll Lazlo. So here I have the sketch already on the face, and I will have to say that this was probably by far my funnest face up that I've done recently. So this is also the manliest sculpt that I've done in a while too. Even though I've done the doll Pam Shoto Reiki, so this is actually pretty sculpted, very angular, and it lends itself very well to having a very customizable face. As you can see, I am doing the eyebrows. There are many scars, and which is awesome. I do have scars on my own personal dolls. I did not do these as 3D though, so I didn't use glue or anything. I just painted them on with watercolor pencil. So here I am. I'm trying to get a color for the lip that I like, and this was just a bit too light, so I went in with a bit darker brownish color a little bit later on. And here I'm taking, instead of black, I wanted to do just a little bit softer lip crease, I guess you could say, to define the top and bottom lip. So I'm using brown, and I think brown is a pretty good color to distinguish if you don't want something very harsh like black. So I knew that I was going to be doing a lot of black on the face anyway, so I kind of wanted to make the lips just a little bit softer, you know, just to make it just a little bit more opposite, you could say, from the harsh paint of the face. So, and again, I'm just putting in some facial pigments and things like that. So just to make the face just a little bit more ruddy, a little bit more pigmented than the sculpt. I did take the face up off of this one when she sent it to me, so she did have a previous face up and it wasn't as light as this. It had been, I don't know if it was color matched or just very dark, but as I was taking it off, he became very, very white and pale, and I was like, oh no. So I put it all back on to make him a bit darker. So what we kind of went with was a Viking type paint job on this Lazlo doll, and I came up with many different ideas in my Procreate program, and I sent a couple ideas to Libby, and we kind of meshed two together, and so this is what we came up with. So there is a couple of stock photos on Google for this sculpt, and these black freckle type things were on it, and I thought they were really cool. I mean, it was a really cool graphic choice to make, and so that we went with that. So I just did it on the temples mainly and like near the eyes, and it just gave it that little bit of oomph. I also did it in white. It's not as pronounced as the black, obviously, because it's white, but it did give it a bit more texture and a little bit more depth, I think, in the end. All in all, I really enjoyed doing this commission for Libby. I really did. I enjoyed myself so much because I didn't have to, yes, and we skipped right to where I had started. This is only the first layer of the Viking makeup, and you can see that I kind of dabbled on a little bit heavier freckles on the sides of his face. I just thought that the smaller ones were just not as prominent, so I put in a couple more. But here we have some makeup down on him already, and I absolutely love it. I am so happy with this sculpt. I enjoyed every bit of it, and the scars were really cool. I just did a white base, and then I did some red and then some browns to make up the scars. So I also did a little bit of creating a depth with just some pastels on the side to make it look like it's a bit more raised than just being flat. So I kind of went with that as well. I went with a more asymmetrical design for the face paint, and I really like that. I don't care to have it so much being equal or symmetrical. It's just not aesthetically pleasing to me. I like asymmetry. That's why he has one scar on one side, 3 on the other, 2 on his nose, and 1 on his lip on the one side. So here I am on his lip, talking about his lips. I put in a couple of Viking symbols, or you can call them Norse symbols. It's called Old Farthik, and it's actually quite interesting. There's a translator on Google you can find. It's pretty neat. So I put in strength and man, so basically manly strength on his lip. So I thought that was pretty cool. The idea was taken from the stock photo from Google, but I didn't give him any other tattoos other than like just his scars and his face paint. And I think that worked out really well for him, especially with his eyes that he has, that Libby sent. So what I did was put a dark black line, I guess, across his nose and across his cheeks, and kind of framing his cheekbones. And then the rest of it was mainly just pastel. So I went over it probably about 3 or 4 times with chalk pastels, and of course layering with MSC in between, and it gives me that more opaque black color. Even though it looks very similar on film, it actually gives this really cool effect in person, where the black pencil has almost like a different texture than the pastel part of it. Even though I did go over both with pastel just to give it that oomph, it does lend to where you can still see both textures. So the pencil texture and the pastel texture, which is really cool, because different textures on a face up is very, I would say, unique, but I guess it wouldn't be unique if you're doing it all the time, but it just gives it that little extra oomph. So you can't really tell too much on video that it's a separate color, or a separate texture, but it's actually pretty cool. I did do his scars over and over again, just because obviously the white gets lost in translation sometimes when you spray your MSC. So I just kept going over it every once in a while with that. So yeah, I really like the scars. If I had if this was actually my doll, I would have done like a glue base. But again, I don't know how long that actually lasts. I don't know how well it holds up over time. So I think the best scars to do, to be honest, is just doing them by hand. So with colored pencils or watercolors, or just acrylic paints or something on your sculpt. I think it seals in better. Yes, it doesn't give that 3D effect, but I mean, if that's the only other thing, then yeah. And here he is up close. And I really like the little smirk on the side. I liked how the sculpt kind of lent itself to that. So here I am. I'm just going to be glossing his eyes and his mouth. And I glossed a little bit of the scars, just a little bit, just to kind of give it that scar shine. I do have scars of my own on my person, so I kind of know what they look like after they've healed over years and years and years, and they do have sort of a glossy sheen to them, at least mine do. And so yeah, that's why I kind of glossed them up a little bit for his scars as well. And these looks to me, I put his scars to be a little bit more new. That's why they're not completely white. They do have that little brownish, reddish shade to them, so they're still rather new. And I like that, plus the other kind of scars that you can do. It's just, they're all healed and it's been years and years and years. But that's not really what I went with. So it was more of an artistic choice to do that. But I really hope that Libby likes him. I enjoyed all 3 of them that I did this past time. And I am just so excited to see her face when she sees him. And yeah, I think that's all I have right now. And I will let you guys watch the rest. Thanks for watching. Bye.